Am I the a-hole for not explicitly telling my grandpa I'm married to another woman? And this is all answering the question, when is it necessary to share a secret? This first story comes from Scattenspringer, and they say, my wife and I are both women in our late 20s. We've been together for 4 years and got married this summer after getting engaged in the spring. Due to restrictions and personal preferences, we did a courthouse wedding with each other, with each of our sisters as our maids of honor. It was a relatively simple affair, and my wife and I are pleased with how low-key it was. Before we got married, I was not out to my extended family member. I was very close with my grandma and was afraid of how she might react. Sadly, she passed away shortly before our wedding, so she never got to know that my wife was more than a friend. I'm not very close to my grandpa, but I do try to call him once a week to chit-chat. He's very reserved and soft-spoken, so our convos are typically 5 minutes of fluff about work and the weather. I had introduced my wife to my grandparents. They met her a few times before my grandma passed away. They only knew her as my roommate / friend, as I wasn't out at the time, but I would tell my grandma about fun things we did together, and honestly, I think she might have known that we were a couple. In retrospect, grandpa probably didn't pick up on it because I'm not nearly as close to him as I was with her, so when we visited, he would say hi and chat with us for a little bit before going into his workshop while we stayed with my grandma in the house. I love grandpas in the workshop. It's just like a fun idea. Like, what are they working on? What are they working on? The grandpa's in the workshop.
He's working on something. Also, Sarah Badoff, we didn't read any of that. I double checked.
Any of what?
Sarah Badoff said we read the entire last episode before we did it.
I do not remember that.
I know. We read similar stories because Reddit is similar, but we haven't read any of that.
I don't remember it.
I promise you, I double checked all of them.
So
the only one we had read before was the twin story.
Yeah. After the wedding, I decided I couldn't hide who I was any longer and posted our wedding pics to social media saying that we had gotten married and I was happy to spend the rest of my life with the woman I loved. Many of my extended family reached out to congratulate us, and the overall response was very positive. For Christmas, we sent out Christmas cards to all my relatives with our engagement and wedding. Fast forward to last week, my parents, siblings, wife, and I stopped by to visit my grandpa and exchange presents with masks on. When we got to his house, I said, Grandpa, you remember wife's name? And he said hi and asked about her parents. And that was that.
Did you read the after the wedding? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So everyone was sitting in a circle around the living room. I was sitting next to my wife on the couch with my arm on the back of the couch around her while we went around and everyone opened presents. I got a cookbook my grandma had picked out for me before she passed, and I started to tear up. My wife held my hand for a while to comfort me. That's cute. The next day, my mom reached out saying that my grandpa didn't know that my wife and I were together until he saw me hanging all over my wife. I'm sure these were my mom's words. I told her that I genuinely thought he knew, and that if someone hadn't talked to him about it after we posted it on social media, he would have realized from the Christmas cards, which featured a close-up of the rings. He had asked my mom about it after the party, and she had to tell him. She says it should have been from me. My mom told me it was my responsibility to tell him, and that way he wouldn't have found out from that way. So, am I the a-hole for not specifically telling my grandpa I'm married to a woman? My mom said it isn't the end of the world, but I can tell she's kind of upset. My wife said that she didn't think any PDA we did have was over the top and nothing my siblings wouldn't do with their significant others who weren't present. And a friend said that it's not on me to make sure everyone knows about our marriage. And there is some relevant comments and some notable comments and an update. But what do you think, Sophia? Is OP the a-hole?
I don't think OP's the a-hole, but I'm just wondering how he didn't figure it out.
Also, would it not have come up in
any conversation?
In one of the 5-minute conversations where it's like,
I'm confused.
Hey, by the way, I got married.
Yeah.
To who?
I think
Janine.
I feel like if she was, I think it may be the a-hole if she was hiding it still.
It sounds like she may be intentionally hiding it
the truth
because she's worried about how he might receive
it. Totally Spies says, did he not notice at the wedding? I don't think he was at the wedding.
I don't think he was at the wedding.
Think
they did a small courthouse
wedding, but I feel like
with just the sisters.
I'm just wondering why he wasn't told any of this before. I feel like one, if the mom thought her daughter had told, OP had told the grandpa, why wasn't that a conversation? I don't know. Like, I agree. I guess I agree that OP should have told the grandpa, but I'm also just wondering why. No.
Akamori says she's afraid of rejection from the grandpa.
I don't know. I guess if she was purposely hiding it from him, I think at that point it's kind of disrespectful to your wife. If you're not in danger.
Yeah.
If you're not in danger and there's not like a safety element, I think it is a bit disrespectful to your wife to hide it from important people in your life.
But Beauty Like Night says the grandpa got the Christmas cards with the wedding photos.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking. That's why I'm like, I don't think she's the a-hole, because why didn't he know?
Yeah. Well, let's see some notable comments. Let's see if we get some more context. So, notable comments. If my grandma was still with us, I definitely would have told her. My grandpa and I never really had a close relationship, and the main reason I call him is because he misses her and I want to help distract him even a little bit. I think a part of me just didn't want to have the tough conversations. So that means you're the a-hole.
Yeah.
I think that means you're the a-hole.
I think she needed to have that conversation.
She needed to have that conversation. If she was afraid to have that conversation, then I think that's like a little bit unfair.
Yeah, to her wife, I think.
Yeah. I was hoping the Christmas card got the point across, but knowing him, he might have just glanced at it and set it aside. Then someone says, you're the a-hole. The social media posts and Christmas cards are not relevant. When you showed up at your grandfather's house with a stranger, how did you introduce her? Did you say, this is my wife? Blank. If someone else introduced her and then you failed to mention she was your wife, then it's not your fault. Except when your mother told you didn't know, you should have called him and apologized. I'm sorry, Grandpa, for not properly introducing you to my wife. I didn't realize you didn't know I'd gotten married. We kept it very low key because of the pandemic. Your friend is sort of right that it's not your responsibility to make sure everyone knows, but when you go visit someone, it is your responsibility to make proper introductions. Yeah, I think it's more of like, like you said, Sophia, it's more that it's a
respect to your partner.
To your partner.
Like I guess obviously taking into consideration that this is a queer marriage and has many layers of like fear of rejection from your family members and all that stuff. But if we were to look at it from, if you had a partner, like if you were in a straight relationship and you had a partner, would you not want everyone to know that is your partner?
Yeah, I would say, hey, this is my girlfriend or this is my wife or whatever it will be.
Understanding that there are multi-layers added, or like there are more layers added because they're a queer couple, but still they're married. It doesn't seem like the grandpa has like shown any violent tendencies.
No, he's like a quiet, reserved man.
He's working in a workshop.
He's working in the wood shop.
So Sydney Without Kidney says she's not the a-hole for distracting him from his wife's death, but is the a-hole for not mentioning it. What a better distraction from his dead wife than introducing your alive wife? Yeah, I think OP owed it to share that knowledge, or that information should have come from her, especially because he is an important person in her life.
Yeah, but we do got some more relevant comments. So, not the a-hole, I think. You should have told him, yeah, that seems clear, but I hesitate to call anyone an a-hole for not outing themselves before they feel ready. Your behavior at the party probably was completely appropriate for a spouse, but was clearly not how a friend would behave, and it must have been jarring for him to realize in that moment. Your mom is probably upset because your grandfather is upset about being left in the dark, and she feels protective of him. I agree with your friend to an extent. It's not your responsibility per se, but we all can give our elders a little extra, assuming they aren't a-holes in situations like this. I called and made sure my grandma knew I was pregnant because it was pretty obvious she wasn't going to understand the picture announcement we sent to everyone. And then another one, you're the a-hole. I'm not sure I get this. You never really told extended family members about you being in a relationship with a woman who is now your wife, but you were also shocked they didn't figure it out. Depending on the age of your grandfather, it's possible he simply doesn't use social media, or at least enough to see your posts, and never knew as you didn't tell him. It seems you basically left him out and had someone else do your bidding and tell him instead of you doing it yourself. As a bi woman, I'm shocked your wife has been okay with this the whole time. You were essentially throwing her in the closet around your family. And then finally, holy no, not the a-hole. You don't owe coming out to anyone. If someone assumes you are straight, that's 100% on them. The consensus, though, is a-hole.
Ooh, I'm like...
It is split. It is split. Yeah. It's not like the worst, most egregious a-hole.
I don't think it is the most egregious a-hole. I think there is, Akamori says no a-hole, just lack of communication. I don't think there is. I'm not going to relieve her of a-holery completely. Yeah. Because again, I think there is a little bit a-holery towards her wife of not,
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But maybe the wife is okay with it or whatever, but.
I think that's a conversation that they should have though. Because, okay, I guess what I'm saying is if she brought the wife and it was hiding it on purpose, is she expecting her wife to, not act as her wife in public settings?
But I don't think so, because they are acting it. So yeah, but if they're acting like it, then I think the inconsistency is if they're acting like it, then they should just say something.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it would be like for sure the a-hole if she was expecting her wife to pretend to be straight in front of people. Yeah. That would be for sure the a-hole. But I think it's a little bit like muddy because it seems like there was just like lack of communication.
Yeah, but there is an update. So 21 days later, I just want to thank everyone who commented. I read through them all and it really helped me process the situation. I spoke with my mom a few hours last night after I posted, and she apologized for her comment about my wife and I hanging all over each other. I apologized for putting her in the situation she was in, and I genuinely thought that he had known. She said that it was okay. He knows now and not to worry. She had talked to him and told him that we were together, but didn't tell him we were married, which she said needed to come from me. I agreed. I said I was going to give him some time to process and reflect on things, and that I didn't want to reach out too soon before he was ready. So I waited a week to talk to him. And that time, an aunt of mine said she spoke with him. They spoke for a while, and his general sentiment was that he was worried that we could lead happy lives together, i.e., could we find a home? Could we have kids? Would we be able to keep our jobs? She said they had a really good talk and that she was able to reassure him on his worry. She told me I should talk to him and give him a chance to see how happy we are. This weekend, I went to visit him. My mom and aunt came with me too. After we chatted for a while, I told my grandpa that I had some news. I told him that my wife and I had actually gotten married this summer. I made it clear that it was a very small ceremony and that our parents couldn't even attend. And that because of that, we are planning on having a big wedding celebration in a year or two after COVID is over, so all of our family and friends can celebrate. I explained that I was just nervous to tell him and that I was worried what he would think. He said, "Well, I'm 85. My opinion doesn't matter." That's cute. We talked a little bit more. I made sure to mention that we were very happy and that our jobs knew and our neighbors knew when we bought our house. I also mentioned that my wife's parents went to the same college my parents went to and all my mom's siblings went to, and he thought that was pretty cool. I told him that I didn't have a chance to tell grandma before she passed and that I really miss her and had hoped she could see how happy we were together. We all had a little cry and talked about how much we miss her. The next morning, a different aunt called me and said that when she went and visited grandpa, he was all excited. Did you hear OP is going to have a big party after COVID? OP is having a wedding celebration. She and I had a good talk, and it sounds like grandpa is doing well with the news and that everything worked out okay. And a final notable comment: however much it seems you were judged the a-hole in the previous post, what's come out of this is nothing short of beautiful. I'm so happy that he's accepted you and your wife and is excited for the party when the world is safer. Just goes to show sometimes there's no need to be afraid of telling them. Not that it's always this easy, but I'm glad this one worked out happily for you. And that is where that story ends. And this next one begins. I think it's cute. I feel like something to remind ourselves is that, like, while older people may not share the worldview that we've grown up in, I think we can give them grace to be cool.
Hope for the best in humanity.
Yeah, hope for the best. And I think like that's what OP did and actually got rewarded for it when she finally did. I'm going to be 27 in August, and that's basically 50, and I don't like it, says Brittany Johns. That's funny. Join the 27 club. Hey, yo. But let's get into this next story. So my new manager is someone I slept with years ago, and he doesn't know we have a child.
You should tell him.
You should tell him. Yeah. All the same jokes.
Everything's the same.
Everything's the same. We're doing Groundhog Day over here. So this is answering the question, when is it necessary to share a secret? And this second story comes from Virtual Smiling Bikes. The backstory: I went back to university in my late 20s to do my PhD and shared an office with a few other students for many years. One of the students, Jacob, completed his thesis and was moving back to his home country, so we all went out for congratulatory farewell drinks. One thing led to another, and Jacob and I spent the night together. A few weeks later, I realized I was pregnant and I had no way to contact Jacob. His university email and mobile number had been deactivated since he'd left the country and the university. I didn't need anything from him and was fine to raise the child alone, but I thought he had a right to know. I Googled him a few times over the years, but never found him.
Okay, so she did try to tell him.
Did try. This last week, our department head emailed everyone to introduce and welcome our new manager. manager, Jacob, with a photo and a blurb about his education and work history. So I know for sure it's him. The night we spent together changed my life because it made me a parent. So I have thought about Jacob from time to time when my daughter asks about her dad, or I notice a genetic trait she didn't get from me. However, I doubt Jacob has given that night a second thought. I have no idea whether he will have any concerns about being my manager given our history, or whether I'm making a bigger deal out of this than I should. For what it's worth, in my years of sharing an office with Jacob, he seemed easygoing and practical. In our company, it is a common thing for everyone in the department to reply all to these introduction emails and introduce themselves, welcome the newcomer aboard, and explain how their role will interact with theirs. I'm not sure if my email should note that Jacob and I studied together years ago as a way to get that out in the open, or should I email him individually and offer to have a discussion about keeping our history out of the workplace if he thinks it's needed. I'd appreciate any suggestions for language that indicates I'm not concerned and will be completely professional. And then in direct contradiction to that, I'd also appreciate a script for a separate email saying, can we please meet outside of work because I need to tell you something important about our history so I can tell him about his daughter. If you or any comments think I shouldn't tell him or I should let him settle in his new country and new job first, I would definitely take that on board. And there is an update.
Okay.
Woo!
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. I think you should definitely tell him.
Yes.
Right
away.
Yeah, right away. First thing, email.
I think you should email the whole office and say, oh my God, that's my baby daddy.
See you. I like to see you thriving, King.
Yes.
So good you're out there.
You can pay my child support.
Yeah, getting income for our kid. I think in reality, back to reality, I think he should know. I think what you should do is not necessarily mention the history, just welcome him, and then separate thread be like, hey, how open do you want to be within the office about our history?
I think OP meant, do I reach out to HR and say, hey, I know this person?
No, I think she meant
reach out to the office?
No, reach out to him.
No, because she was saying, what do I email the office?
Well, because there's a reply all. So basically, like, new guy comes in and it's like, hey, welcome to the office. I'm going to be interacting with your role in this way. She's saying like, hey, welcome to the office. Haven't seen you since we worked together in blah, blah, blah. Work together. Yeah, work together. I mean, they did work together.
So she's asking, should I even mention that I know him?
Yes. I think mentioning that you know him
is not bad.
I wouldn't say, hey, remember that spicy night we had right before you left? Wouldn't say that, but I think it's totally fine to mention that you work together. I hope, Trisha D says, I hope this email finds you my baby daddy. But yeah, I would just email acknowledging that you work together.
Yes.
And then
email
separate
him.
thread saying like, hey, we need to talk.
Yeah. I've got
some
news.
Stuff to say.
but with like an emoji that's like.
Yeah. So the extent to which I tried to find Jacob wasn't relevant to my questions, so I didn't include the efforts I went to. For the commenters who are curious, understandably, I really did try when I first found out I was pregnant. I asked the other people we shared an office with, but no one had any information. We were students who shared an office and sometimes went to the uni bar together. We never spent any time together outside of uni. I asked Jacob's thesis supervisor, but it was Christmas/Australian summer here, so he was on leave for 2 months. When he got back, he gave me the address on Jacob's file, which was, of course, the Australian address he didn't live at anymore. The uni had a next of kin Australian contact number on file for his aunt, but no one ever answered it when I rang. Jacob is Chinese with a very common surname, and Jacob is just the name he used in my country. I don't know his actual given name. So attempts to find the correct Mr. Wong in a country where they don't use Google or Facebook went nowhere. I searched for recent publications about Jacob's thesis topic and found a paper with Jacob Wong as one of the authors. I contacted the corresponding author and asked for Jacob's email, but they never responded. By this point, I had given up because I was so sick with hypermesis gravidarum. I needed to focus on my baby's health. And now we have an update 8 months later. Was that
Incredibles? Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Thank you for answering my letter. You were right. It was a really big deal. I was viewing the Jacob as my manager problem from his perspective until I told him otherwise. It was just a simple one-night stand over a decade ago and didn't seem like a huge problem. I hated and appreciated the reality check. I regret reading the comments, but thank you for moderating them as quickly as you did. A lot has happened in a short span of time. Thankfully, I already had a therapist. First, I spoke to my union rep who said, but say nothing, but call us if HR tries to set up a meeting with you. Staying silent and having Jacob independently declare the prior relationship when he arrived would have been problematic because I'd still end up in the same position and I would have lied by omission. Our HR team can be gossipy and they know the age of my half Chinese daughter, so I needed to have as much control as possible over the disclosure. I spoke to an employment lawyer who reviewed our policies, and at his suggestion, I wrote an email to HR declaring a prior relationship with Jacob. And then I was immediately pushed out. Even if you have all the legal support in the world, you can't prevent someone from doing something illegal. You just have recourse afterward. In a meeting with my lawyer, the union rep, HR, and a member of my senior management team, I was asked to resign. When I said no, they insisted on a statutory declaration about the relationship with Jacob, stating what happened, when it happened, how many times it happened, and who initiated it. I also said no to that. We ended the meeting with each side agreeing to think about possible solutions. That's crazy.
That is overstepping on the company's part.
That is so insane.
Yeah. Why would they need to know all that?
I have no idea.
How many times? Why would they need to know all that?
How many times? What positions? Was it just missionary? Was it doggy? Let us know.
We need to know.
We need to know. Do you have any video? We need to analyze. The company's solution was to start messing with my pay, my benefits, my swipe card access to my office, my computer login, my email calendar account. Yeah, they are literally just giving OP more of a case. So honestly, do it.
Yeah.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it because she'll take you to court.
Take you to court. They spread rumors about me, and I heard coworkers whispering that I'd had an affair with a manager. They sent me for a random drug test at a time when I was scheduled for an important meeting with clients. They canceled accommodation that had been booked for upcoming travel, which I only found out because I was getting paranoid and called the hotel. I can't describe how awful it feels to know that someone with this kind of power over your job is devoting their time and energy to thinking of ways to screw with you. Wait, so I'm wondering, does Jacob know? Or is this just coming from HR?
Well, I'm wondering why. It feels like they're kind of protecting it away.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is
And
weird,
Sydney Without
'cause he's
Kidney
new.
says HR is to protect the company, not
true.
you, which is true. Which is true. Yeah. This is crazy that this is happening.
Yeah.
Every day I was going into work wondering what was waiting for me, and it was wearing me down fast. The advice from the union rep was to go back in time and follow their first piece of advice, or just keep documenting everything as we prepare to take legal action.
It's good that she had a lawyer before this all started.
Smart. I wouldn't have thought to do that.
No, I would have been like,
never
oh, the company will
suspected
be-
that this would happen.
Yeah.
Terrible. The lawyer estimated that it would take at least a year to get any kind of resolution, and I didn't even want the job anymore. By this point, I wasn't sleeping much, and I had cried a few times at work. I was beginning to crack, and we were only just getting started. So I resigned. I wish I'd held up better under the pressure, but it was all just too much with the looming deadline of Jacob's start date at our office, and whatever way HR was going to drag him into this. Yeah, so I think Jacob does not know.
Yeah. That's what
And
it
I don't
seems
think
like.
Jacob is married.
No, I don't think we've had any
Or at
information
least
about that.
when they had the relationship.
I think, Duchess Cassandra says an affair is Jacob married. The company was spreading rumors
That it was an affair.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I can take my time looking for a new job, and I've had some space to process everything. Outside of the work stuff, I spoke with a family lawyer who outlined all the possible ways this situation could go and what the most likely outcomes were. Basically, my daughter is old enough that what she wants would get heavily weighted by a court if it came to that. I've spoken to my daughter many times about her father. I told her what I knew about him and that I tried to contact him. I've offered for her to see a therapist if she ever wanted to talk about it with someone who wasn't me, and she has always said, thanks, but no thanks. The family lawyer helped me write a letter, which I left for Jacob. I told him about his daughter, said I wasn't trying to get anything from him, and gave him the contact details of my lawyer. After a few weeks of me freaking out that HR had somehow intercepted the letter, he emailed my lawyer. He was the easygoing and practical Jacob I remembered. He was still processing it, but said he wasn't going to take any legal steps. He offered us his family medical history. He apologized if I resigned because of him, and he said he would like to meet our daughter if she's interested. She also has some siblings. I told her all of this. She says she's happy that she has her father's contact info, but doesn't want to meet him right now. She's of the view that having him in our lives would cause unwanted disruption, and she doesn't even know about the work cluster budge. And that is where that story ends. Wow. I was not expecting all of this craziness from the HR stuff.
Well, it seems like the issue here was because we know that Jacob hadn't even started work yet. Like his start date hadn't even happened. It seems like the company.
It's all the company.
It's all the company. It seems like OP told the company, hey, I had a previous relationship with you know, this guy because she wanted to be transparent. And then the company was like, well, we don't want to deal with that messiness, so let's just get rid of her.
Exactly. Which, like, I don't know why they're taking that course of action, because I feel like they're just digging their own hole. Like, they just gave OP so much ammo to go in the lawsuit. I feel like it's a thing on the company's part, but it just goes to show, if you work at a big company, get a lawyer, because you'll get screwed over.
Yeah.
What are we at time wise?
We've only got 40 minutes, and 10 of that, I don't know why we went through those stories
10
quickly.
of that is goof.
Yeah, well, we have 10 minutes where we were fixing the stuff.
That's true. So let's get another story.
I have another story in the log. It's just slightly unrelated to the question.
That's okay. I'm okay with that. Miss Killed It says she should tell Jacob why she had to resign. Yeah, maybe Jacob could be like a internal champion for her and get her job back, but I don't think she even wants the job back. The job just sounds like everyone sounds toxic, even the employees who are all like gossipy and stuff.
Yeah,
everyone sounds toxic queens.
We could also do a call-in.
Let's do another story first, because we are City Without Kidneys. HR is the a-hole always.
Yeah,
we hate Toby. True. Toby putting his hand on Pam's leg like that. Whack. I'm going to go to Costa Rica. Yeah, do you guys have any HR stories? I would love to know if you guys have any HR stories, because I have never really worked at a real company ever. So I don't even know what corporate stuff looks like. I had one job after college where I interviewed stars, but in a business sense. But that was my only real job. I told you about that. Yeah. Let's do it. My parents opened several credit cards in my name. What do I do? And this comes from Parental Problematic, and they say, I guess this is a lesson in paying attention to my finances. After having just finished my freshman year of college, I came back to my parents' house for the summer. My mom made it a habit on Monday and Tuesday to make sure she got the mail before I had a chance, even running from the kitchen Tuesday to make sure I didn't get it, as I was expecting an Amazon order. Today, the mail came kind of early, and there was a letter from a collection agency addressed to me. I only knew it was a collection agency once I opened it and discovered I supposedly owed nearly $5,000 on a Capital One card I had no idea I was ever signed up for. Once I got done freaking out, I called my dad at work and asked him what to do. It was weird when he said to talk to my mother about it. He didn't seem happy at all, but I didn't think much of it. But I see you in the chat if you know what's coming. Once my mom got home, I asked her about it, and she said her and my dad opened up a few credit cards in my name for household expenses. She said she thinks I owe around $10,000 to 3 different credit card companies. I checked my credit, and it turns out I owe over $15,000. We ended up having a huge argument about it, with my mom saying her parents did this to her when she was 18. She said that I could file for bankruptcy and that it wouldn't hurt me because I wouldn't be trying to buy a house for several years. I am interested in going to a government-related job, and a bankruptcy would probably disqualify me for it. She knows this, but it doesn't seem like she cares. This is so awful. Also, hurt people. It's like, yeah, my mom did this to me, so I'm doing it to you.
It's my mom did this. This is just parent bonding.
Yeah, it gets you closer.
Yeah.
You know, obviously it turned out so well because now I have to borrow money from you. Why don't you? I mean, isn't this why you have kids? So you can steal their identities?
You can steal and ruin their credit, right?
Yeah. It's like, the kids don't farm on your land anymore, so you just got to farm them for money by opening up credit cards. So,
yikes.
My dad got home a couple of hours ago, and they talked to me together. Either I can declare bankruptcy once they spend up to the credit card limit of the last card with any credit on it, or they said I could move out at the end of the month. It just feels like it's incredibly unfair because it doesn't sound like bankruptcy will actually do anything for my credit and probably sink my job opportunities. How can I get my credit score back to where it was, which was around 720, and how can I get this to not affect my credit going forward? We do have some comments.
Yeah.
But question, what would you do?
Police.
Lawsuit. Socrates says lawsuit should be the equivalent to divorce chant. Lawsuit. We did it at a different cadence. I'll do it at yours. Lawsuit. So checking out 2024 says that's identity theft. And it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's a felony. The ball is in your court. You could easily have them arrested, and you can lion their property. What does that mean? Lion?
Their property? I don't know.
Lion?
I do not know.
Take their property? I think it means take. Can we look that up?
Yes, sir.
Lion. I feel like you would know this with all your books you read.
All my books.
All your
A right
books.
to keep possession of property belonging to another person until a debt owed by that person is discharged.
Yeah. Muffin Man 0807 says, not sure if this is another comment, but I'll write this out. 1, F these pieces of crap. You owe them nothing now. This is an egregious betrayal of you as a person. They are trading your financial future for some new crap in their house. F them. 2, you are a tenant and they can't just kick you out. They have to evict you. If they change the locks, throw your stuff away, or anything like that, call the police for an illegal eviction. 3, absolutely record the next conversation you have on the subject. Use the voice recorder on your phone, but record the conversation. Go to the police and file a police report with the evidence. It will be able to be removed from your credit card and hopefully land them with some jail time and a big fine, hopefully. And 5, F these people. I have 3 kids and I can't imagine stealing from them. And there is an update. But what kind of parents do you have to be to steal?
Steal your children. I mean, steal your children's money.
Yeah, I feel like Sam pronounced it like lean.
Yeah, it's
when
lean,
you owe
which
on a
I
car.
actually have heard put a lien on some. Yeah,
I've never heard that before in my life.
I don't think I've read it before, but I've heard it.
When you owe, it's when you owe on a car, the bank has a lien on the car until it's paid for. If you don't pay, they can take the car. She could put a lien on their house, car, etc. So she could get the car. She could get it all back.
Yeah,
That would be cool. That would be sick. Yeah, bad parents. Bad parents. Bad parents that had bad parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. But update. So I ended up taking the advice of the vast majority of people and I filed a police report. The officer, Sophia, we're doing Catan tonight. We're doing Catan tonight.
Oh, sick. Okay, Stevie is coming over to watch Planet of the Apes, but we can play Catan.
We're playing Catan.
Let's all
I don't
play
know,
Catan.
but it's a 5-person game.
Well, we can be one person.
Okay.
I already invited her over. I'm not gonna.
I sent a calendar invite.
Yeah.
Do you not pay attention to my calendar invites?
I pay attention to when you tell me verbally, and I
did tell you verbally. You didn't listen. Anyway, we're doing Catan.
But I had
Catan
already
tonight
spoken.
and Junto tomorrow. Update. I ended up taking the advice of the vast majority of people here and I filed a police report. The officer took some printouts of everything as evidence. Once I had the report, I called all of the places listed on my report and gave them the report number. The 3 credit card companies all took it and were pretty cool with it. The collection agency wanted me to make a goodwill payment so they could start investigating my claim that it was fraudulent. They said they could still sue me even with the police report if I didn't cooperate with their fraud report. I refused, obviously, as I don't want them to be able to take money out of my bank account. I never told my parents that I went to the police, and for a couple of weeks, they had no idea. Right after Memorial Day, they received a call from a detective and everything blew up. After the call, they began screaming at me and my dad started literally throwing my things out of the door. I called the police at that time and they showed up and told my parents if they wanted me to leave, they would have to evict. I came home from work the next day and the locks were changed. I called the police again and my parents refused to open the door and said all of my stuff was at my grandparents' house. I received another report number for unlawful eviction, which I was told was a civil issue, and got my stuff from my grandparents. These parents are terrible.
These parents are the worst.
The worst. What kind of parents are these?
What kind of parents are these?
Parents more like enemies.
Wait a minute. What kind of parents are you?
Luckily, I have a friend with a couple of spare bedrooms, and she said I'm welcome to stay with her for a couple of months. I'm scheduled to move in to my own place in about a week. Once I get a full tally of the total cost of everything included in moving, I'll be filing a civil lawsuit against my parents for unlawful eviction. I was told by the same detective my parents didn't seem very truthful with anything, and the state's attorney's office will be in contact in the next few weeks regarding identity theft charges. He said he believes they will likely prosecute possibly as soon as this week. If that's the case, they, or more likely just my mom, will be issued a warrant and have to spend at least a night in jail. No matter what, I feel as though I made the right choice. And there is some additional comments from OP.
Finish this off.
So OP, I'll post another update if my mom ends up getting arrested and or if my civil suit has any action on it. I appreciate everyone's advice. And a commenter says, you probably spoke to a collections agent who lied to you about them needing a good faith payment to start investigating. 1, no good faith payment is needed to investigate a situation like this, especially with police report. 2, the moment you pay them, they legally classify that as you accepting your responsibility for the full amount as your debt. 3, credit card companies and their debt collectors cannot sue you. They will just put it on your credit report and harass you. And that is where that story ends. Wow, these parents suck.
Yeah.
His parents suck. Go no contact. Leave.
Yeah. Leave.
I don't know because the OP's staying in their house. I don't know if it's worth it just to stay in their house. Just like say that. But I think what is good is OP's building a case. It's like they evicted me illegally. They stole my identity. They threw my stuff out. I feel like OP is building a case where they will be able to come back at their parents and get a lien against all their belongings. Yeah, get leaned.
Get freaking leaned,
bro. Get leaned.
Yeah, this is horrible parents, and I think OP is definitely in the right to get this.
Yeah, but that's where that story
is the end
ends.
of the story.
I mean,
somehow we got through all of these stories. We did 3 stories, and we got through them very quick. But we do have some
Collins.
Some Collins. If we do 2 Collins, then we'll be good.
Two Collins? What are we at?
We're at 50, but 5.
Let's do another story.
Okay, but should we do a Colin at all right now?
Yeah, we should do a Colin.
Right now, and then we'll do another story.
Okay, fine.
All right, Sophia Callan, as promised.
Oh, right. Sophia
You're telling your story.
What is it? What's the TLDR?
Being friends with an ex and lying about your history with them to your current partner.
Oh, Sophia was friends with an ex and is lying about...
Or vice versa. Maybe the ex was friends.
Wait, what do they say exactly?
It was about being friends with an ex and lying about your history with them to your current partner.
I think maybe it is them.
Well, let's find
out.
All right, Sophia, we're gonna call you momentarily. Get freaking hyped.
John hasn't made in the shade.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sophia, how's it going?
Hello.
I can't hear you. I didn't put my sound on.
You can't hear us?
How do I do it?
Can you hear us now?
I think I got it. Do you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. So, Sophia, you told us that you have a story about being friends with an ex and lying about that history with your current partner. Were you the person that was lying or being lied to?
It's a little bit like I was friends with my ex, and my ex was lying to his current partner, and I didn't know. And it was like a whole deal.
Your ex was lying to his current partner about your relationship.
Yes, and she ended up texting me and calling me, and I had to reveal.
Yeah, so Sophia, you were saying that your ex was hiding your friendship from his current partner.
That's not exactly it. He knew that we were friends, but he didn't tell her that I was his ex, and we were in a relationship for like 1.5 years, me and him. And so we still talked about our family, but he didn't tell her that we were together. So one day she just called me and she was like, were you together? And I was like, yes. And she asked, did y'all kiss? And it was like, it's relating to the last story where the person like didn't say that they had like spicy sleep with their ex or whatever, with their best friend. And so she didn't know that he was active at all. And so I had to expose it to her, and it broke her heart, and I was so sad that I had to be the one to say it. So it's basically always tell like what you did in your past to your new partners, because like it really hurt her, and I felt so bad.
Wait, so she thought that he wasn't like he was a virgin?
I'm not sure if she thought he was a virgin. I think she kind of played it like she knew he was actually active after I told her that like we were together for 1.5 years and we did stuff for 1.5 years. So I think she kind of played it cool and said, oh, I knew he had like 3 partners, but I don't think she knew, because she asked me, did y'all kiss? And if I was together with him for like 1.5 years and she knew he had sexual relation or spicy sleep, like it kind of put 2 and 2 together. So I think she did not know.
What ended up happening with his current partner? So you reveal that he actually isn't a virgin. You guys were spicy sleeping on the reg for 1 year, and this is news to her. So what did she do? Did she break up with him? Did she stay with him? What happened?
I'm pretty sure she broke up with him, but like afterwards I tried to like know if she was okay, and she said like, listen, just talking to you, it just broke my heart, and she wasn't able to like talk to me because it brought bad memories. But then later on my ex texted me and he said, you ruined my life. So I think she did break up.
Well, honestly, I mean, he shouldn't have lied. It's not on you. And it's related to these like last couple stories where it's like,
I was gonna say this relates to our question.
Yeah, like should you reveal secrets in relationships? I feel like generally it's better to have the truth come out. And I also, it's not like you were telling the truth out of any malice. Yeah, you were doing it out of just a place of wanting to be truthful. And you were asked a direct question and you gave a direct honest answer. Lying about not like having spicy sleep with someone is pretty whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt like it robbed her from what she wanted in a partner. Because if it had gone on and she didn't know, and she ended up like committed to him, and he finds out, and she found out later on,
Yeah,
kind of like
she would be even
violent
more
behavior.
devastated. Like imagine if they had kids together. Like that would have been
Exactly.
even worse. So like good on you for actually bringing it up when you did. So you haven't had any contact with your ex since then?
No, I've blocked him because I thought he was a good guy, and then when I heard what he did to this girl, I was like, I'm not sure I know who he is anymore.
Yeah, and also like even if you don't have both sides of the story, like that's just so much drama that you don't want to get involved in.
Exactly.
I feel like it is I think
That's
you
not
did.
yours.
I think you made all the right decisions. Well, Sophia, thank you so much for calling in. Super relevant
just-
story
Yes,
to this
one
episode. Shout out you.
Real. I mean, I know it was
Can
for
I just say
yesterday,
something to Sophia? 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, I did make your love love letter, but it's been like a month and I haven't sent it, so I'm gonna do a new one so you have a better love letter, because the one I did was really small. So I'm gonna do another one and I'm gonna send both of them soon.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
That's so
No
sweet, Sophia.
problem.
I cannot wait. Thank you so
Love
much.
letters from
Listening.
Sophia to Sophia.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, and just my last name is Calon, if you wanted to.
Calon?
Calon.
Calon.
Well, Sophia
French.
Calon.
Wait, say it again. Listen to-
Sophia Calon, thank you so much
Calon?
for calling in, and we appreciate your story.
No worries. Thank you so much.
Of
See you in
course.
the stream.
in
Have
the
a great rest of your
stream.
day. See you in the stream.
Bye.
Dang, dude. People out here
Dang.
be lying.
Ow.
People here are lying about
Yeah.
being virgins. I
Weird.
remember in high
Weird.
school when people lied about not being virgins. How the
Yeah.
tides have turned.
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
Calon.
Calon. Sophia
That's what Cedric
Calon.
Kidney says.
Calon.
Yeah, I can pull up another story.
Yeah, do you want to do
You're just
another
reading so freaking quick.
story? Yeah, dude, we're like yeeting through these.
Eating through them.
Eating through. Dude, this couch is so comfy. My goodness. Goodness gracious,
do I
Saint
have
Ignatius,
any?
holy moly.
See.
Guacamole.
Okay, this one for sure doesn't relate, but we're gonna read it.
All right, let's do it. My wife said she does not owe me sex. Also, this comes from main site 7738. She is right. She does not owe me sex just because I am her husband, but I cannot take it anymore. Sexual incompatibility is hell. I've been busy drafting divorce documents with my lawyer this week. I believe it's best if we separate because we have become incompatible after some time. 4 years of marriage, both in early 30s. Hormone tests came up as normal. I begged for marriage counseling with therapy. I did everything she pointed out. She came up with other excuses. Since the beginning of the relationship, we take turns handling laundry and dishes. For the other tasks, we have our own responsibilities for different rooms/tasks. It's not in the sexual department as well. She does not seem to be into having non-sexual intimacy either recently. Countless discussions and nothing in the end. I'm guessing cheating.
Yeah.
Unless it's been this like this from the beginning, she could just be asexual. But if it was a change, cheating. That is my guess. Well, it was not like that in the beginning. There we go. It wasn't like that in the beginning. So I'm not sure what happened. Marriage counseling and therapy did not work either. She seems happy in the relationship in daily life, but I am not. We have only had 2 times since the beginning of this year. When was this written?
Ooh,
Tell me when it was written.
Tell me quickly, what's the story? May 30th, 2024.
Oh, so it's been 5 months, a full 5 months. 2 times in 5 months.
Tough.
Pretty tough. Couldn't be
Pretty
me.
tough.
Unless she was on a trip.
Yeah.
And then that would be okay.
And then it's fine.
Or long distance relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, how old is this person? 30? I feel like maybe this is not true. And I feel like I might get crap for it in the comments. But I feel like compatibility becomes less important with age. That is a bold statement that I have nothing to back up with.
I don't personally can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah, I can also, I just know.
I think maybe libido goes down with
age. Yeah, I don't know.
Though I did watch a documentary about a Ren fair, which was actually really interesting. And so it kind of centers around this guy, and they call him King George, and like 87, and his whole thing, he's like, before I die, I want to find love. And he's just talking about how horny he is, and how he like hired this guy to find him dates on like dating apps. And it's just, just so he could like.
You know
have
that
sex with
old,
people.
you know, I
you know,
Love Bubbles
sometimes-
brings up a good point. The nursing homes would agree with you, Sam. I actually heard, retirement homes be popping. So yeah, I'm probably very wrong here.
Yeah,
Retirement homes
I
be
was saying
poppin'.
from the documentary I watched.
Retirement homes are, it's like college for old people. Everyone's
That's
boning.
honestly kind of sounds fun to be at a retirement home.
Kind of sounds fun.
If I were old, I might want to be at a retirement home.
I think I would. I want to.
Well, okay, it would depend. I wouldn't want to be at a retirement home where I couldn't leave.
Yeah, but if I can leave.
But if I can leave and it's just like college, it depends on the retirement home.
Getting back to
So
this
you're
story.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm very wrong. I was, sometimes I just
made
say
a claim
out of
and it
pocket
was
things,
and it was
and
incorrect.
I get corrected, and that's that's part of learning and growing and being Sam
I
Bad
think
Takes Man.
perhaps it is more true to say libido can change.
Can
with age.
change. Yeah, I think so. I think so. But okay, 2 times at the beginning of this year, which is not that many times. She mentioned we should start trying to have kids at the beginning of this week, and I got annoyed. What am I? Something kept for only breeding? I will give her the divorce notice documents next Monday, and I am torn to leave the relationship like that. I also leave the house as soon as possible. However, I am sure I am doing both of us a favor in the long run. We should separate before having kids. Just wanted to vent and get opinion from a neutral point of view. What do you think, John?
John.
John, what do you think? Oh, wait, we go back to John. Well, in the retirement home, it can get pretty wet and wild. John, you have a girlfriend. I can't believe you would say that. A man's gotta do what he's gotta do.
All right, that's enough of that.
John, you old bastard.
Wait, what do we think about this story? What just happened?
I mean, I think, if you've talked about it and she said she would make changes and there's not changes and it's really important to you, like you can decide whatever relationship that you want to be in. If you don't want to be in that anymore, then that's fine.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Oh, she's pregnant. She's cheated. She's pregnant already. She is trying to cover up the pregnancy. Oh, conspiracy theory. Wow. Good catch. All right. Should we go into
the relevant comments?
Yeah. So, relevant comments. OP was asked if he and his wife had kids in their marriage. OP says it is obvious the resentment would grow even more in the future. Having a child in that environment would be such a cruel thing to do. OP having the divorce talks with the wife. I told her that I would consider divorce in our last talk, but she did not even believe it nor took it seriously. Also, I do not believe people should stay in miserable positions in any part of their life. Everyone has a right to leave and choose better for themselves.
Yeah.
Agreed. OP responds. What do you think, John?
What?
Yes, I think everyone has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh
When I was signing those documents all those years ago, I really do believe that that everyone should have a good life.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, it's crazy that you signed the Declaration of Independence. That's really cool. Anyway, OP having the divorce talks to the wife. Yeah, they should choose better for themselves. OP responds to questions on the sex life with his wife. The spicy sleep life. OP, first 2 years of marriage, it was good. After that, it started declining to the point of almost no spicy sleep. I do not think she's having an affair because there is no clue or something to make me suspicious. We were mostly together and she did not give me any reason to be suspicious of. Okay, there goes that theory.
Well, it could just be like I think there might be a change in, or maybe not a change perhaps, but like she might be coming to understand sexuality and it's different than what she expected, or it's or it's just changed for her, which doesn't mean that OP should have to stay together with her, regardless of whether or not that's true.
Yeah. John, what do you think about that? I remember when my balls dropped for the second time, things changed for me. Oh, John, that's super interesting. Dang. Well, let's get back into the story. Well, I just tried to fix it and change it for 2 years. In the end, nothing worked, and I decided to divorce. So, Parla Call says, that's crazy that she's considering having kids with you, and you were considering divorce. 2 people living together, yet so far apart. And update. So, the first post can be found on my profile. I will keep this update short. She got the notice papers this morning and was shocked. I explained to her in detail and thoroughly why I came to that decision. I pointed out every previous discussion we had. However, there were no efforts from her side, and we were simply incompatible in the end. There was crying and arguments again. I also told her I would be going back to my hometown to settle in my pre-marital house. It was my mom's, but after she passed away, we shared it half and half with my sister, though I gave my share to my sister later. We had to move to our current city due to my wife's job. A lot happened that day, but I will not give details as they are mostly personal. Next day, I started packing important things, and all of a sudden, my wife became the most actual person on the planet.
Ooh.
She's pulling out every stop.
Okay, but is she doing that just for like to keep him and not because it's actually something that she can, she wants?
I probably.
Well, yeah, it seems like it, which is not.
Yeah, like almost 100%. Like
Well, no.
she's finally realized this is actually important to him, and she's putting in the work.
Yeah, which is, it's still not. It doesn't fix the problem, because if it's not something that she actually wants,
Yeah, it's just going to
do,
decline over time.
Yeah, it's just going to go back to it because she doesn't actually have that same
desire.
Yeah.
But she came to me with lingerie, toys, costumes, and approached me. I'm going to be honest. I had a very hard time resisting, but rejected her advances every time. She is the woman I love and desire after all, but I do not think staying in this marriage will be healthy for either of us. Stay strong, OP. Stay strong. I'm currently staying at a hotel. Sophia.
Sorry, I'm making the game plans.
What game plans?
Okay, I didn't know you were reading it on here.
I literally tell you, I'm reading it.
Keep reading.
From the thing.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Oh my goodness. I'm currently staying at a hotel with my important belongings. I changed my passwords and handled other shared things. My sister will come next week to get me, and I believe I'll be staying at her place in our hometown for a while, at least until the beds and furnitures are delivered to the house. Some Redditors pointed out that she may be cheating on me, but she did not give me reason to be suspicious of her. I trust her fully. I just wish she was more compatible in the intimacy department. She's trying to reach out to me, but I reject her calls and do not read her texts. I may need a few days of peace and silence to get myself ready for everything upcoming. Thank you for the advices and suggestions. The last thread. Take care. There are some relevant comments.
Okay, wait. Just to be clear, is she pregnant or not? Because
we don't know.
Okay, we don't know. Oh.
We don't know. John, what do you think? Damn, John, get it together. This is crazy.
John, you're so tired.
John, you're so tired. Oh yeah, it is 5:39. You probably.
I've been here since 9:30.
Yeah, John needs his beauty sleep. He needs to go to that retirement home.
But there are some relevant comments.
There's some relevant comments. So, relevant comments. OP on what he plans to do once the divorce is finalized. OP, dating is not the first thing in my mind right now. I need to settle in the new house, get used to it, and I'm in the process of changing jobs after my notice. I need to handle these things to consider dating. Also, I do not think I will have a hard time meeting with new people. For the dating her part, I do not know, and I do not think it's realistic either. Commenter, well done for being strong when she confronted you with everything you had been wishing she would. This was a good choice. Giving in would have prolonged this cul-de-sac in both of your lives and caused lots of harm in the end. And new number 7810 says, it's a little insulting that your ex-wife only became open to spicy sleep after you gave her divorce papers. It showed that she could have made an effort, but consciously chose not to. She considers her happiness worth the effort, but not yours. Proceeding with divorce is the right thing to do. You're not the problem. Your ex is. You can find happiness with someone else. That's the end of that story.
That's the end of the story. Well, that's the end of that story. And I think when you're schmexually incompatible.
Actually, when you're spicy sleep incompatible.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't work that out, which is not, I don't think that's a fault on, I fault her for her lack of wanting to communicate about it.
And manipulating OP to stay.
Yes, that she's the a-hole for that. I don't fault her for the lack of it, the lack of that desire. That is a normal thing for different people. But it's the lack of communication, and that is not fair to OP.
Yeah. Well, John, what do you think? John,
wake up!
John, you can't be sleeping right now. All right, we'll get back to John.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that the end of that episode?
That is the end of that episode.
And I think the end of the stream. Sophia is tired. She's been going nonstop. Okay. If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.